his justice. Once a certain Nawab came to seek Baba Tajuddin's blessing in the success of his litigation concerning his 18 lakh rupees worth of property. One day the Baba was going out in his couch and there was a Harijan eating rotis from an old cloth on his head. He advanced towards the Baba to pay his homage. Baba Tajuddin got down from his couch, took the rotis from the Harijan, sat down under a tamarind tree and started eating them. He divided one roti into two parts and gave one piece to the Nawab who was with him and said, "If you take too much you will have motions." He then asked for beedis and the Nawab offered the same. At the same time the Nawab placed his legal document before Baba for his blessing. The saint kept the burning beedi upon the papers and said, "This is our seal." The Nawab later learned that the property had to be divided like the Baba's roti. The Baba warned, "Don't take what is not yours." Refused to accept ill-earned gift. Abdul Rahman, the city Kotwal of Nagpur, brought some nuts to be presented to Baba Tajuddin at Sakardara, but the Baba did not even touch them. At the same time a poor man bought rotis and offered them to the Baba, who said, "We will eat them," and took the rotis heartily. The Kotwal too wished that Baba should accept his nuts, but the latter turned to the farmer and said, "I can't digest it." Later the Kotwal realized that the saint did not accept his nuts because they were purchased with the ill-gotten money as bribe and not by his legitimate money earned by honest labor. Besides verbal teachings and signs, Baba Tajuddin's glorious life itself is a long and direct teaching which is too high and subtle for the common people to comprehend. Only some portions of it are within our comprehension and we shall briefly describe them here. His sympathy and kindness. Hazrat Baba Tajuddin always showed sympathy and kindness to the old, the poor, the downtrodden and the sick and oppressed. He could read the silent agony of the tormented souls at the very first glance. His solacing balm was spontaneous, direct, sweet and pacifying. It needs no lengthy rationalization. One day the Baba was walking along a street in a village 14 miles away from Nagpur, followed as usual by hundreds of devotees. There in Sharif, he saw an old man and woman in front of a dilapidated house, grinding grain with extreme difficulty, panting with exhaustion owing to old age. The soft-hearted saint at once went to their aid, removed them from the grinding stone and did the grinding himself to the surprise of all onlookers. He then gathered up the floor for them and left the place without uttering a word. His followers could not help shedding tears at this divine love of the saint for the poor and feeble humanity. On one occasion, a pauper came walking all the way from a long distance to see Baba Tajuddin Auliya, but on arrival he found a big crowd of rich people surrounding him. He naturally felt shy and diffident to push his way through such a crowd of aristocrats or dare to rub shoulders with them to get through and have darshan of the Baba. So he sat under a tree and patiently waited for his chance. Up to nightfall there was no hope of his getting a chance. The poor man had nothing to eat, nor any money to buy food with, nor anyone to approach for food in a strange place. But when it was time for Baba's meal, the devotees arrived with dainty dishes and placed them before him. But the saint did not touch any of them. On the other hand, he spoke to the people around him, "First let our guest be served and then we shall eat." But they did not understand as to whom he was referring to and went out searching all over the place. Yet they found none worthy of being Baba's guest and returned and served the meal once again in the hope that he would accept it at least the second time. But the Baba once again repeated his order in a more stern voice, and this time he also gave a description of the guest, who was none other than the poor and hungry man sitting under the tree outside. When they informed the poor man of Baba's order to serve him with food, he broke down into tears of gratitude and told the Baba's men, "Many thanks, I have had no meals for the last 2 days. I came walking from long distance to have the great saint's darshan, and here I find him and his gracious hospitality as divine as it should be for great saints." It was Kabir who said, "Lord, grant me this much. I must be fed, and also the sadhus who come to me." More was Baba Tajuddin's love and sympathy for another invalid. There was a disabled boy with his hands and feet quite useless, who was brought to Sakardara by his parents, who had lost all hope for his cure after every possible treatment. In great desperation, they left the boy there and left away. Hundreds of devotees of the Baba were moving about Sakardara daily, but none cared for or took any notice of the poor boy who could not even speak or cry. They brought all sorts of tempting gifts for the Baba, and the poor boy saw them. But one day Baba Tajuddin walked straight to the boy and ordered food for him. When it was brought, he fed the boy with his own hands and patiently waited for over half an hour till the boy could swallow properly. Then he helped him to drink water. Later he directed some of his devotees to take care of the boy, and his orders were carried out scrupulously. Such kindness of Baba Tajuddin was not confined to human beings only. Once he was wandering in Digori, miles from the city of Nagapur. It was the custom of the people of Nagapur to offer drinking water to all the devotees who followed Baba Tajuddin on his wandering excursions. So on that day also they brought pots of drinking water. This time the Baba directed them to give the water to a thirsty horse that was standing 100 yards away. When they took the water to the animal, it drank 5 buckets of water, which showed how thirsty the poor animal was. But who except the Baba could know the thirst of the dumb horse, a creature of God? Ganga Boy's case. The callous indifference of the society in India goes to those unfortunate people who live by their lowly professions, the untouchables as they used to be called, and it is with them that the heart of the God-man dwells. Ganga Boy, a Harijan woman, cooked her offering for the merciful Baba Tajuddin and started for the darshan of the saint on foot. At that time the Baba was staying in the palace of Maharaj Raghoji Rao. When she arrived there, she lost her initiative and hesitated to serve her poor offering to the great saint, who was entertained luxuriously by his rich devotees and visitors. She was more afraid of the social consequences that might befall an untouchable for daring to serve her poor food in the house of great Maharaj. Anyway, she tied her offering in a piece of cloth and hung it on the branch of a nearby tree, sitting herself at a distance from the man of God and waiting for his darshan. After a little while, the Baba asked for his meal. The devotees hurried to vie each other in serving him even richer dishes. But the saint refused to eat what was offered to him. On the contrary, he asked for the meal that was hanging on the tree. The devotees were perplexed at what appeared to them to be cryptic words. They searched all about the place for any trace of the meal he described. When they found nothing, they offered what they had brought for him once more. But the Baba insisted on his previous demand being met. The perplexed devotees stood dumbfounded, for they did not know what he meant. At last the Baba himself got up and walked straight to the tree, untied the meal that hung there in a piece of cloth, brought it down and ate it. He left a little of it and returned to his seat. The woman, a scavenger by birth, was watching the whole incident from a distance. When the Baba left the spot, she gathered up what he had left as a token of his blessing. Those who espied and envied her good fortune asked who she was, and she told them of her identity with great reluctance. They asked her what she knew about the great Baba and how she was inspired to bring an offering for him. She replied, "The one who incarnated as Rama had once again descended in this form. Only we cannot recognize him. Truly, as Jesus Christ said, those who are learned do not know, and the innocent ones know." He explains the significance of Hall. The uncanny ways by which his great Sufi saint of Nagpur taught the various spiritual lessons through experiences are no less amazing. One day a respectable visitor asked Baba Tajuddin, "Master, how can Hall be experienced? What is the way to get it?" To explain this practically, the saint removed his own cap and put it on the floor upside down, topsy-turvy. And so suddenly the visitor was overwhelmed with the actual experience of Hall. In this state, he stood topsy-turvy on his head and began to jump upon his head and hands. It was only when the Baba turned the cap and put it in its normal position that the visitor got out of the ecstasy and stood upright. Hazrat Tajuddin then asked him, "Have you realized how Hall is experienced?" The man fell down upon Baba's feet in solemn satisfaction. This gesture has a twofold significance. The Baba, as the spiritual master, can cause ecstasy in his disciples or even in laymen by his own spiritual magnetism in order to give them actual experience of Hall. This incident also shows that mystical experience can be transferred to others by a perfect spiritual master. He can at this will impart it to one who could not experience it through his own spiritual endeavors. This finds a parallel in Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who gave an experience of God to his beloved disciple Vivekananda at his sweet will. Sai Baba of Shirdi also referred to such an experience when he said that his Guru tied his feet and hung him into a well upside down for hours, during which period he had experienced ecstasy. Sai Baba also administered direct experience of a true fakir to a beedi vendor merely by a wave of hand, and took it back after some time by another wave of hand. So too he effected a complete metamorphosis in a skeptic by just throwing on him a garment with which he covered himself. On another occasion, Tajuddin Baba was wandering in the jungles of Waki, followed by the usual crowd of his devotees. From a distance, a qawwali was heard with the following notation: "Only when man first loses himself in love does he gain himself." On hearing this, the Baba exclaimed, "That's how I lost myself." He implied that so long as one does not forget and lose one's individual self and existence in God's omnipresence through constant remembrance of Him, so long all efforts to realize divine grace and beauty are fruitless. The ease and spontaneity with which he passed into the state of ecstasy or super consciousness were marvelous. Once, when some courtesans were singing before him, Baba had the hall and remained in this condition for 2 consecutive days. Orthodoxy in every religion tended to look upon such spontaneous and direct sainthood as of Tajuddin Baba, Sai Baba or Jesus Christ as heterodoxy. In fact, on a deeper realization, it is easily seen how they fulfill but not destroy the scriptures. Like Christ, Tajuddin Baba also had to cure the scribes and some orthodox Muslims of their pride of scholarship. Once at Sakardara, some scholars were arguing about the meaning of a passage of the Holy Quran. They were obviously very proud of their knowledge and scholarship. Then Baba came out of his mahal and recited to them these words from the Holy Quran. If anyone expressed gratitude to you for bringing him to Islam, ask him to be grateful to God for having given both of them the reverence for Islam. For the Baba, the Holy Quran was his very life breath, and his object was to enable scholars to imbibe the spirit of the holy book rather than spend themselves in wrangling about the letter of it. It was and still is supposed by the orthodox that the teachings of saints like Tajuddin Baba are opposed in spirit to absolute faith in and obedience to God Supreme. But as a matter of fact, the saints are the only witnesses to the divine glory, which is the reward of their absolute and complete dependence on the Lord. They are intermediaries between God and humanity, and they are content to be the beacon lights to guide human souls to their original harbor. The following incident bears out this attitude of Hazrat Tajuddin Auliya. One evening, Baba Tajuddin was sitting at the bund of a tank at Sakardara with some of his devotees, including Muslims. At the proper hour, the Mujana's call for the evening namaz was heard from a nearby mosque. Baba immediately said, "Go and offer your namaz to the Lord. The call is heard." Many of the Muslims readily obeyed and went to the mosque, but some of them did not. They said, "Lord Tajuddin is enough for us." The saint, however, questioned them. One day people will be judged by their righteousness. He also wanted them to remember that although the saints were powerful, they were only servants of Allah. So, the disciples, in spite of having their peers, must pray to the Almighty God. He never asked people to worship Him in God's stead. Yet he allowed Hindus to worship Him as they do to their deities, because they are well instructed by their tradition that though it is the mother, that is God, that suckles the child, that is the devotee, at her breast, the saint, that is a vehicle of God's grace, or the mother's milk, is the immediate channel of her milk, that is the grace. He advocated the Hindu tradition to Hindus and the Muslim one for Muslims. He never unsettled their mind by an indiscriminate muddling of the two traditions with each other.